Good morning. Good to see everybody today.
Thank you for your list of show suggestions. I will report back randomly on what I've watched and what I thought was good.
Yes, we will. If you get more show suggestions during the day, throw them in there for Bethany, for Sarah.
Yes, I'm making a list.
So fantastic. Well, it's great to see everybody this morning. Looks like that snow hopefully will hold off for us for our awards ceremony and our spring market that is getting going. It's not going like some of the social media memes going around.
Oh, for the love. They've been ridiculous.
Oh, it is ridiculous. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen the picture going around social media that
there's 90 million for sales in
Arlington. The whole Arlington market went for sale, and that picture does look bad, but that's just a picture of 1% of the market being on the 1% of the listings being on the market. So obviously we go over stats every week. There's great stuff out by MVAR from Bright. But we're going to continue to go through that in the weekend update on Friday. But, I just did one last Friday, and the inventory was up 1% week over week and almost the exact same. We have a little bit more inventory than we had at this point last year, but actually at a 5-year low, last year's probably the low, but we're not overrun with inventory by any stretch of any imagination. Every Bright stat says that. Every MVAR stat says that. Every DC car stat says that. So, I think that I would encourage you to, and I saw some people yesterday say it's a good opportunity to take a video, take your favorite stats, do a video overlay. I saw Johnny G did a good one yesterday about inventory.
Good job, Johnny G.
I saw 5 or 6 of them out there all over the place, but it's a great idea, great time to connect. People are starting to see this stuff float around the internet and to see the real estate pro. And I saw somebody not even doing videos, but saying words like, I'm your pro if you ever want market stats. Amanda Macy, I saw this morning on the way in, said the same thing. So, I love the idea of, great, when there's an opportunity like this, give me a chance to show my expertise.
Yes, and be the expert. They're getting literally from social media, from memes, from their car mechanic to their dry cleaner, they're getting all of this information flooded to them and they're treating it as gospel. You guys be the expert and really connect with them and show them how much knowledge you have and correct the record because
Absolutely.
That's going to drive their buying patterns. It's going to drive their selling patterns. Confusion creates an environment where people don't buy or sell. Make sure that you're their true source of information and make sure that you're connecting with them because that value you're adding to them is solidifying that relationship that you have with them. So be the expert. Make sure that you're putting the information out. Look, media, we've talked about media sells with scare tactics. This is just another scare tactic. Just make sure you set the record straight. And as you try to set the record straight, please don't get pulled into those political whodunit type discussions that everybody wants to have. Just rise above it, be the professional, stay neutral, and
there you go.
Push forward.
So Bethany put some notes in the chat there. Just as a reminder, guys, if you want to participate, use the raise hand function, and we'll unmute you and hop you in there. But it's easier to keep everybody on mute because we will constantly telling people to mute because they'll be having conversations and forget. So use that raise hand function. We've got some great guests today. We've got Elizabeth Kline, Tonga Turner. Carrie will come up from Cardinal. And I think Jerry Berry's going to stop by and make an appearance as well. So lots of great guests. We're going to keep great market conversation going, really stay on top of everything going on out there. And we're going to ask for some feedback later, some answers to some of those questions that the email went out with last night. So be ready to participate when we get to that in a little bit. As a reminder, with our new Zoom sales meetings, Sarah and I taped the top performers for the month, the Cardinal closings for the month, and all the Welcome to Samson's Properties people. We taped those separate videos. We did send them out in the email last night, and we'll continue to send those out, and you'll see those pop up on social media as well. So those are super important to us, but we wanted to shorten this meeting to just being about the conversation of what's going on in the market and having some great tips from top pros. So remember, those videos are out there. We had 159 new agents join us last month.
Wow. That's awesome. January.
A big month. In January, we had 159 new agents.
And welcome to all of you.
Yes, 351 Cardinal closings. Then we also did all those top performers. So look for all those names and new family members through there as well.
Congratulations, us. Woohoo!
We have finally officially passed 6,000 agents. We put this out on social last week. So really excited about that. Some people be like, why are we not way higher? Because we keep adding 100 people.
That's a great discussion to have quickly.
Yeah. we very rarely get transfers, but we do have some people that get out of the business. And I want to make this point. If you're out there and you ever consider, hey, should I let my license lapse? Don't let your license lapse. Okay, listen,
you worked hard to get that license.
You worked hard to get it. We're proactively trying to talk to people before this happens, and they go and they just let their license die. Join our referral company. We give 100% commission on referrals. You pay $250 a year, and we have a way that you can actually, if you get a referral in from somebody, you can give it right to our referrals at samsonproperties.net.
Yes.
We have a great team there that will take the referral. We'll give them to somebody in that best area, somebody qualified to do the sale.
That's trained and coached and a really great closer and someone that's going to help hold and handhold and communicate with a great customer service to your client.
And you will be able to make $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 referral commissions on these deals. Stop. Once you sunset your license, you can't earn commissions. You can proactively talk to friends, family. Yeah, I'm still a realtor. I'm not working full time. Let me refer to one of our great people at Samson, and you can earn great commissions. It is a small price to pay. The $250 a year we charge in the referral company is really small when you think about it, because if you go somewhere else and you're 80-20 on a referral, well, you might get a $5,000 referral commission. The total commission was $20,000. You got a $5,000 referral commission. Well, that 80-20, now you're paying the company $1,000 out of that, right? We give you 100% of it. So you'd rather get that whole commission and get a referral every couple of years, and the math is it works way in your favor. There you go, 68 cents per day.
A day. You go, Deb.
Look at Deb using that calculator.
Using
Love
math.
You, Deb.
But the really cool thing, guys, you worked hard for it. And if you let it go, one of the things that I have over the last 20 plus years is people like, oh, I'm not using it right now, I'm just going to let it go. But then they move somewhere or they decide they want to get back in it later. So they've got to take the class again. They've got to take the test again. And then they have to honor whatever guidelines and educational that's in place then versus before. So some people I know had it back in the day. And if they had just kept it in a referral and kept up with their education or even just went back into a quick contracts class to learn more, now they're doing the post-licensing credits, the 30 hours. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff after their license because they didn't just maintain it. So keep your license. As Donny said, we are reaching out proactively to these people to try to help them, teach them and train them how to look for the water cooler conversations where they can send those leads in, help them convert just in their daily life without having to have the associations, the MLS, and all the fees associated with that, if that's something that they're interested in.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as a reminder, if you got that invite, we have our Samson Awards show live tomorrow.
We are on, people.
Westfield's Marriott. For those asking, yes, we are on. It looks like the storm's going to pass. I know our Richmond and some of our Southern Virginia locations.
They're under snow watch, yeah.
Might be under a little bit more snow watch than up here, but it seems like we're clear. The hotel made it clear there's not enough snow to even consider rescheduling, so we are rocking and rolling.
Be there with bells on.
So we'll be there with bells on tomorrow.
Yes.
We're going to put together a great video, 11 a.m. Friday. Going to go live on the Cardinal Nest on YouTube. You can watch that full broadcast with all of our different awards and all the fun put together. And actually, Justin does a fantastic job of cutting out some of the dead time, which is great as well. The $99 fees apply for Martina, you get all the states. You don't have to pay per state. So watch the weekend update. As a reminder, we do this every Friday. We send this out. This has market stats, which has been super relevant this week with all the social media stuff. Market stats for all the different regions. We do top performers. We do classes that are going up next week. It's great stuff that's going on this week. I try to keep it 12 to 15 minutes, an easy watch. Even listen in your car, but stay on top of what's going on in the market, what's going on at Samson.
Well, and the other thing I want to reiterate on that too is that every week you do that, you are talking about what's happening with the market.
Yep.
So that you guys don't have to be, what's happening? I have gotten at least a dozen emails this week on, is this meme real, right? That we were talking about earlier. Pay attention to the weekend updates because he's telling you in real time what's actually happening. So it's a great way to just keep up with market as well as something that's coming next week with Samson that you don't want to miss.
And the point I would make, and I see some people, because I've read too many of these comment threads about that meme, is people post stats with like the January statistics.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, great. I'm glad you put up January statistics. But those were closings in January that were written in November and December,
right.
Closed in January. That's not super relevant. So what I do, though, in the Friday update, though, is it's the bright stats from the previous week. So, like, those stats come out Tuesday for last week, and then I'm announcing it on Friday. So when I'm talking about This is what happened last week. How many listings went on the market? How many contracts got written? How many showings happened? That's real life actionable data. The closed sales, look, I don't really emphasize that. I don't really work on that because closed sales is really 60 days old news. It's what contracts were getting written 60 days ago.
Those are not current contracts.
So I'm talking about showings, active listings, active inventory. It's going on right now. So that's why I do that stuff in the Friday update. So, all right. Without further ado, we've had a lot of Donny and Sarah getting us going here, but we've got some fantastic guest speakers today.
I'm super excited about
Bethany is our
Speaking
friend
of badass women.
All right, speaking of bad A woman, apparently, Miss Tonga Turner. How are you, Tonga?
Hello, Tonga. Oh, we can't hear you, Tonga.
Try one more time, Tonga.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
yeah, we got you. All right. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Fantastic.
So Tonga is a rock star performer. I'm going to mess up her numbers, but I think you just finished your third year in real estate. And last year, I remember standing up at that award ceremony, and you were in the top 5 in our company in just your second year in the business, which was phenomenal. So her sales are through the roof. She does an amazing job. And also has been a fantastic speaker for us at sales meetings and at Top Producer Takeover.
Top Producer Takeover. Yep.
So thank you, Tonga, for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me.
What are we jumping into today? What are we talking about, Ms. Turner?
All right, so we're talking about the top 5 things that we need to be doing in order to make sure that our businesses thrive. So I'm just going to share a little bit about the top 5 things that I do personally, and hopefully they translate to other folks on the call today. So I'm just going to jump right in if that's okay. The first thing that I always tell people is you have to build a strong personal brand. Your branding is everything. And when we think about branding right now in today's digital world, your personal brand is your business card. So what makes you stand out is what clients trust you before they even meet you. So think about it. People are now going on Google, Instagram, Facebook, and that is where you're making your first impression. So I always tell agents, be careful what you post because that is part of your brand. If you look at my Instagram or Facebook pages, they're all very branded. It's very professional information. I'm not on there doing anything too crazy because that's my brand and there's a certain type of clientele I want to attract. And so everybody's brand may be different, but I always say start with a professional website. This is your online storefront. So if you want to showcase your listings, client testimonials, any valuable content, market insights, your professional website is usually a great place to start. I know some folks feel a little bit different about this, but be active on social media. I mean, social media is free. So if you're consistent and you're posting, whether it's market updates, client stories, any behind the scenes stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis, you know, your content is a way for people to connect with you and a chance to get to know you a little bit better. And then, of course, always making sure that everything you put out there in the world, because it's permanent, it can be permanent, is high quality and also professional. Now, that's the digital space. I also say for your personal brand, there's also who you are, how you show up in the business, right? And that can look like answering phone calls, responding to emails, being professional with your colleagues and your client, showing up dressed for work and not for the gym. Those are all things that are related to your personal brand. And if any one of those things are off, you can really damage your personal brand. So if I show up on social media one way, and then when my clients actually meet me, I'm unprofessional, I'm late, I'm not following up, that also is a part of our personal brands. And I see so many agents do it all the time where they appear great on the digital world. And then when you start working with them, you're like, you're not the same person. So I would say the first thing is keep a strong
It's like
personal
Sarah's
brand.
headshot to her real life. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Tom.
Not nice.
The second thing is
that,
master lead generation and follow-up. So, all right, branding is great, but without leads, we know our businesses don't grow. So let's talk about lead generation. So many agents focus their energy on getting leads, but they usually don't have a strong nurture system in place. So, you know, what I've learned is that over the years, it doesn't really happen on the first phone call, right? It normally takes 5 to 6 or maybe even 10 times of touches with that lead before it actually produces. So you want to make sure that you have not just a lead source, but a way to nurture and maintain that relationship until the deal actually happens. The other thing is, you know, making sure that you have a diversified lead source. So don't just have one or two places where you're sourcing your leads from, because what happens is when one of those doors closes, now you're panicking and you're only focused on that other opportunity. We saw it happen with TikTok, right? A lot of folks, TikTok was their biggest source of business. And when that was down for a little while, people were freaking out. But if you have a multiple ways of generating leads, then you're not as beholden to one or two things. And then the other thing is capturing leads effectively. So offering something of value. So free market report, home buyer's guide. I do a newsletter to all my current, future and, post clients. So making sure that you offer something of value. I also do pop buys, which is just a gentle way to say, hey, don't forget about me, and, following up with them consistently. And then I know we all know this, but CRM. I mean, I use KV Core. That's something that Samson provides. It's great. It's easy for me, but it's a great way to track your leads. You can set reminders. You can follow up. I send mass text message through that thing, but have a diversified lead source, capture your leads, nurture them, and follow up consistently, and make sure you are using a CRM, not a piece of paper or a spreadsheet, because that does not work.
Love it.
I love it.
The third thing is maintaining a referral network. So a lot of folks always ask me, well, where are you getting your leads from? I have, in my opinion, built what I feel to be a consistent lead generation source, but it's not just from my friends or family or my sphere of influence from people that I've sold or have helped purchase homes. I also get really strong leads from my lenders, the lenders that I work with regularly. And guys, if you don't have a lender that you have partnered with and are building a relationship with, you're doing yourself a disservice. I mean, I get phone calls all the time from lenders. I want to work with you. I want to work with you. I don't just work with anybody. You want to pick a lender that you know can close an open door. Some of them can't close a door, even if it was open. You want a lender that make sure that they are screening clients and actually getting clients out there that are supposed to be buying, and building that relationship with that lender. The more you close those deals, the more the lender is going to feel like, okay, I can keep giving this person deals because I'm going to make money because she's closing them up. So building a relationship with a strong lender is important. I also get a lot of, referrals from the contractors that I work with. So a lot of times I have clients who want to do work in homes. They want to remodel or finish a basement. So I have a pool of contractors that I use for various things. Because I'm sending them referrals, they're doing the same thing back for me. Another great lead source is attorneys. I have several attorneys in the area who are either working on divorce, probate, estate sales. And so those attorneys, again, as I am closing those deals and they see that it's a smooth transaction, they're sending me referrals. But a part of all of this, guys, is the first thing that I talked about, which is personal brand. Because I show up as a professional, because I show up as an industry person who understands the business, and because my brand shows up well, those relationships, those professionals, those networks that I've built are comfortable sending me leads. So your brand, again, is very, very important. And then the fourth thing I say is what we're doing now, staying educated and market savvy. These forums are an opportunity for us to hear what's happening in the market. I think, I will say that Samson Properties is probably one of the best, the best brokerage that I've been at that has, constant information and education. When you are dealing with a savvy buyer or a savvy seller, they don't want to feel like they know more than you about your industry. So it's really important that you stay ahead and make sure that you're understanding the market trends, that you understand what's happening in your industry so that you can show up as the professional and they can trust you. So I think that when you are educating yourself, and it doesn't have to be something too formal, I think attending things like this, if your broker in your own area has things that you can participate in, just making sure you stay educated and market savvy, guys. And the last thing I will say is leverage technology and automation. ChatGPT is my friend. It saves me a lot of time, but for whatever that looks like for you, maybe it's a scheduler, maybe it's something that you can use to just shorten the amount of time that we're sitting behind the desk. There's a little bit of a running joke in the Waldorf office that they never see me, but I always say the clients aren't in the office, guys, they're out there. So I'm not going to be sitting in the office on my computer because there are a lot of things that I've been able to automate using technology so that I can actually be out there making money. So those are my 5 tips. Hopefully they're helpful.
Wonderful.
And, these are things that I use every day. So
I
hope
love
that
it.
these things are
Tonga,
helpful to you
such
all.
great tips. I have a couple quick questions for you. One, ChatGPT, without getting too deep. What are a couple common things that you do every day, or you do not every day, but you're using ChatGPT for in your business that you think helps you a little bit?
I will say, and this is like one of my cheat codes, is ChatGPT helps me write emails.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yep,
I need that
if
help because
they're-
you guys have read my terrible emails. So.
Oh, his ending for sure with no punctuation.
So I am usually in my car, with a client doing something, and
I
usually
love
my
that.
emails are uncoherent. They make no sense. I'm like you, Donny. I'm missing periods and commas. And again, going back to my personal brand, I want to appear professional. So I'll type in there just a couple of things I want it to say, print it right up, I copy, paste, send.
That is great.
Perfect. I love that.
Well, first of all, I love a good listicle. That's my new word for this year is listicle because I love that. But I'll also say that personal brand, I loved how you incorporated show up because again, I laughed the other day. One of our staff members did a call. It was a sales call. They called in. They wanted to sell us a service. And the dude showed up with like his camo t-shirt on and this like astrological celestial background with stars and moon and like it looked like you were in outer space. And we couldn't get past, it's like our staff member could not get past like, what are you selling? Because the brand was just, okay, camo and outer space. Like I'm not hearing you. It's so distracting. So showing up with your personal brand, representing who you are and who you want to be in all things. I love that. So important. And it's so overlooked by so many people.
Good.
Yeah. And I think as agents, as we get comfortable, right? Especially some of us that are top producers, we're like, we're doing good. Why do I need to kind of, put in the effort?
And it's a dominant trait. It's a high dominant trait to just show up. Well, if I want to wear this today, I'm going to wear this. Who cares? Like that's a dominant trait that we've got to fight against. Like I love me a good Jean Friday, but you still have to be professional in your dress and not come in like you just came out of the gym. I get it.
That's right. And, if we think about it, we're just all a couple deals away from starting over, right? That's how I look at it. So I need to be on top of my game every single time. I don't think of myself as a top producer. I treat myself like a new agent. So every day I wake up, I'm going into work and I'm hunting. I'm starting over all over again. And so that is the importance of making sure that we show up as though we are committed to what we're actually out here trying to do, which is put people in homes and help people make their dreams come true.
I love it.
I love it. And you can tell, guys, the organization that Tonga goes about it and just that attitude of, look, it's easy when you sell 50, 60 homes a year to start to read your own press clippings. But Tonga's she's always chasing. And you had a great quote, and I want to bring it back. It was like, work like you need to, oh, dang, I wish I had a
work
quote.
like you're broke.
Yeah, work like you're broke. That's what it was.
I love it.
She always says, work like you're broke. And she, the last couple of years, I'm sure you're not broke right now, but you're working like you're broke. And when you're broke, you work harder. That's for sure. So because you want to not be broke. So I love that attitude, Tonga. And you just bring a smile to my face every time we talk to you because you bring such real life, relatable tips and how everybody can improve their business by incorporating these things. So Tonga, I just thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and sharing your time with us today. It's always a pleasure. And keep crushing it out there. And we'll see you soon, Tonga. Hopefully tomorrow.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Hopefully. See you later, Tonga.
Well, Tonga was great. We got some Q&A market discussion. So I'm going to bring everybody into the conversation here. So be ready with that raise hand feature. You guys have had enough of Sarah and I. So I want to hear a little bit of input from you before we bring on our next guest. What are you all noticing in your local market? Traffic, sales, days on market. We like to get a heartbeat. We've got 214 people right now on this call, and we all have different experiences in the market right now. So I love to hear kind of what are you seeing in your special little circle of the world, or if you've got, too much traffic. I saw somebody the other day was like, people think there's all this inventory. I wrote 8 offers last week and I lost all 8. Well, that's a relatable target to, how is the real market out there? So anybody have any experience on what they're seeing in their market right now with their traffic, sales, days on market, anything locally that they can see that, on February what is it, 20th, 19th, something like that?
19th, yes.
What are we seeing as we get into this spring market?
And just for those of you that are new to Zoom, remember at the bottom of your screen, there's a heart that says react, and you can raise your hand to engage, or you can put it in the chat.
Yes. Well, as we're waiting for somebody, I'm going to put Tonga on the spot because I know Tonga does a lot of business. Tonga, unmute yourself again for me real quick because you're already used to talking to us. What are you seeing out there in the market every day? Then we'll get to a couple of those next people raising their hand. Tonga, what are you seeing out there?
So I will say what you guys mentioned earlier about everyone putting their house on the market. You know, they showed that big map and everything's for sale. It's a fire sale out there. That's not true, obviously. I am still seeing there is not enough inventory, particularly in that sort of middle price range, that 350 to 550 price range in the Southern Maryland area. And then just from a buyer's perspective, buyers are really, really hesitant. I mean, this climate right now is making folks really think hard and long about what decision they want to make, if they want to make a decision. Before it was just the interest rates. Now we have a different political and economic climate. So those three factors are now making buyers really, really cautious. So it's really important that you put your sales hat on, right? Because you got to tell people, this is the time to buy. Here's why it's the time to buy. And it's a lot more harder right now to get buyers to make the commitment. On the sales side, on the listing side, I'm seeing a lot of my clients who were thinking about listing now putting that on pause. Some folks like, wait, I'm not going to list. I want to see what happens before I do that. But on the flip side of that, Donnie, I've actually had a couple of calls from people who are going back into the office in DC from the federal government space. And they're like, put it on the market. I got to get rid of it. I got to get close to work. Right. So it's really a mixed bag. But I will say there's a lot of hesitation. And it's really important that we get people to kind of either list their homes or make the commitment to purchase. That's what I'm seeing on my end.
Well, and movement is so important. So whether or not you are having to look, if you are not a listing agent and you need to use the opportunity to brush up on some skills, right? Because this is the time, like you said, there's going to be market conditions that dictate that. We're going to get to that also later in the meeting. But being able to brush up on your skills and know both sides and be able to talk to both sides is so key to helping them bridge the gap in the deal, but also to get movement and transactions, which is going to be key to this market.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Tonga.
We've got Laura.
How you doing, Laura? Unmute yourself.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. How are you? What are you seeing? What are you seeing out there, Miss Beam?
So we have a house that we put on the market in Woodbridge, and we received, I think, 13 or 14 offers. And ended up, we had open house. There was 45 to 55 groups through, as well as we ended up $100,000 over list ratified.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing.
I love it. We're
hot.
Good. Market's hot. We're seeing a lot of stuff like that in the chat too.
Yeah, it says West Springfield are still getting multiple buyers. Buyers are having to compete, multiple offers. Joy said she wrote an all cash above list. Escalation still lost. They had 15 offers in Woodbridge. Property was updated, clean, and showed built in 2004. JoJo said she got 2 cash buyers in Anne Arundel on the shady side. That's hilarious.
Can't
had a
that.
bidding war. That was hilarious. Sorry,
right.
That made me laugh.
Miss Kimberly Sneed, what are we seeing out there? Kim, why don't you unmute yourself and let us know what you're going?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So similar to what we're hearing from others, I have a buyer client coming in from California, and we were specifically targeting Lake Manassas. And in both cases, we wrote offers that were all cash, no contingencies whatsoever, not even a home inspection, not even for informational purposes only, and over asking significantly. One was $100,000 over asking, and we still lost.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
But can I ask you a question while I got you guys too?
Absolutely.
So when looking at the trending with these memes and everything and what they're saying with the mass exodus out of the DC metro area. So when I was looking at our weekend update from last week, it was, 21% more listings compared to this time last year. And so to me, that seemed like it is a little bit more, but is that just because that was looking at just a single period of time? Whereas if you look at the trend matches, it's just higher overall.
Yeah, so that's 21% more active inventory than at this point last year. But that's actually been, that number was as high as 29 a couple months ago. It's been like 29, 25, 23, 22, 21. So we've been consistently running at a higher inventory state than last year for the last 3 to 6 months. But when you look at how many new listings went on the market this week in 2025 compared to this week in 2024, it was like 1% more. So yes, we're running at an overall more active inventory. We were really deprived of listings last year at this time, but that's been consistent for, I only know because I read the weekend update every week, is it's been even higher. At one point we were in the 30s as far as more than year over year active inventory. So I like that because it's a little more balanced. But we are still seeing tons of different, obviously, bidding wars. But as far as new listings on the market last week compared to the first week of February last year or the second week of February last year, it was like a 1% difference or 3% difference. It was very, very similar. Now, if everybody's saying it all happened this week, I guess I haven't even looked at the stats yet. They came out yesterday for last week. But I'll read those on Friday. And, it's almost the same. We haven't seen any big jumps by any stretch. So the active inventory, yes, it's a good question because I want people to understand that. That does mean there's more listings on the market than at this point last year, but that's not a sudden rush since the order to go back to work or since the administration change. When we were in July, August, September, it was 35% more than the year before. So it really just shows you how little inventory we had in 2023 and the end of 23 and the beginning of 2024. So yes, we have more than that now, but still very low. And it's like a 5-year low. I guess it's the second lowest year in the last 5 years.
And that was the point I was going to make. Just remember, we have had back-to-back years of the most critical low inventory and the least amount of transactions that we have had in the last 20 years.
Last year was the lowest amount of sales in like 35 years in the country.
So anything that we do to increase our inventory is phenomenal. It's not going to flood our market. It's not going to hurt our market. It's just helping us move a little bit closer to a balance, which is good for all parties. So a little rise in inventory, thumbs up, guys. We need that inventory like crazy.
I would love it to go 10% higher. We it's not healthy to see these texts we're getting in the chat and the stories we're getting about 100,000 and 115,000 over list price. It's not a market that I love being in, to be honest. Now, yes, if you have a nice home that shows well and is priced correctly, it should get multiple offers. But 5, 10, 15, 20 grand over list price, 100 grand over list price, that means we're still way the other way low, compared to what this meme is saying, that prices have dropped 130 grand. That's all crazy talk, right?
I did want to hit this one thing I saw Jason put in. No contingencies, 110 over list price, which is about 10%. In North Arlington, buyer didn't get it. Seller had at least 7 pre-offer inspections. That is something that I am seeing and hearing in the Arlington market is happening all over the place. Those pre-offer inspections. So interesting point there.
Yeah, keep that in mind. A lot of times they feel more comfortable waiving that if you put that pre-offer inspection in, you feel more comfortable.
Well, and I had an agent say to me too on one of those when I said, "Why did you take one that was a pre-offer?" They said versus none at all, just because I was curious on their mindset. And she said because it makes me feel better and it makes the seller feel better that they're going in with their eyes wide open and not getting hammered after the fact with things that they didn't know anything about and weren't prepared to handle.
Right.
Very interesting take.
And for those of you out there, and maybe you're too shy to type it, what is a pre-offer inspection? A lot of home inspectors will offer, more like a walk and talk or a once over where you can do a pre-offer inspection for maybe $100 or $150 or less than the $500 that's a home inspection. And you can walk through the property and get an overall feel for, okay, here are some issues of concern. Are they going to dig into every outlet? No. Are they going to tell you every little $50 or $100 fix in the house? No, but that's not going to stop you from buying a house or not buying a house, right? You want to make sure, okay, is there any real big red flags?
Your major systems.
They're major systems and the functionality of the house and anything I need to be worried about that should stop me from buying this house, something that could be a deal breaker later. So it makes the buyer feel more comfortable. And to Sarah's point, it makes the seller feel more comfortable that they're getting a buyer that has at least done a little bit of
their due diligence.
Their due diligence ahead of time. So we got some more questions. We'll do some more Q&A in a little bit, but I want to hop on. Is our lovely next speaker available there, Miss Durham?
Kline.
Hello, Elizabeth Kline. I'm pinning her up. There we go.
Oh, there she is.
Hello, good morning.
She's got to unmute herself too.
Yep.
And Justin, can you pin her up for us?
Oh, I'll put her
or
up
Bethany?
here. I put her up. We just got to flip the A10.
Oh, okay. Elizabeth, can you hear us?
Oh, Elizabeth's test. Elizabeth, you need to take your mute off on the bottom.
Oh, is Elizabeth Test? That's funny. I was like, Test, change your name.
Okay, is that working?
Yeah, there we go. We
There we
got you.
Okay.
How you doing, Miss Kline?
Hi. Good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
coming
for
in
It's been a
today.
great meeting so
She's
far.
in her professional studio. A nice voice, Donnie. She's in her professional studio there. Elizabeth does a fantastic video podcast every week, a video series on YouTube, so you can tune in and watch that. And I think she films it in that studio there, don't you, Elizabeth?
Yeah, this studio is my home office, just in the corner.
Nobody
Which
has
has
to
been
know that,
very
Elizabeth.
efficient to do.
So, Elizabeth, you've been a successful realtor for a little while, and just crushing it. I don't want to quote numbers, but you're definitely have some fantastic statistics and fantastic totals in the marketplace. So, and have been nice enough to share with us. You were actually in our last top producer takeover as well, and have shared in sales meetings. And I called you out in one of our trainings.
I know.
And you got to come up and on the spot.
She says I remember.
On the spot, do a fantastic thing as well. So fantastic dummy, a guinea pig for us. So thank you for that. So Elizabeth, jumping in today, what are we talking about?
Yeah, so I just want to congratulate you as well for getting over that 6,000 mark. That's
thank you.
So amazing, so insane. I'm so happy to be here. I'm really a proud person at Samson Properties. I tell everyone, and I'm so glad you're still recruiting and you're not letting off the gas, because I think it's an opportunity everyone should have. So moving on.
Thank you,
know I love
Elizabeth.
Samson.
And Elizabeth joined us. You joined us about
yeah.
a year and a half ago now, right? About a year and a half. It was last
Yes.
September, something like that.
Yep, year and a half.
There you go. All right. So thank you for the kudos, Elizabeth. So what do we've got a great topic today. Remind me what that is.
So, it's so great. I need to remind you what it is.
I knew that. I was like, if you don't nail him on that, Elizabeth, I will.
Make fun of me. All right.
Okay, so we're going to have a little fun today.
Yes.
I thought we'd do something a little different and talk about the psychology of sales. And oh, great. There's the presentation. I heard it was going to magically come up. So here it is. So
we are magic
psychology
here,
of the sale. Before entering real estate, just to give you all a little background, I went to school for accounting. And so I became a CPA right out of school. And I did that for a while. But I did go into sales pretty quickly after that. I've had several sales positions, and through my time just kind of in the career of sales, I've sort of gathered these little nuggets of things that tend to work. And sometimes we forget about connecting with people and just how to get people to listen and to understand us, and kind of just taking a step back away from the things we hear every day in real estate. And I just kind of want to sprinkle in some psychology that you can maybe use in your business. And if you take one nugget away from this today, I'll consider that a win.
I love
Awesome.
it. Great topic. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yeah, of course. So if you're going to do a buyer consult, okay, sometimes I hear agents are doing them at a coffee shop or at a restaurant. Some people go to the office. I really think your location does matter. In the world of psychology, right? You want to be able to show your professionalism right off the bat. So if you're meeting someone, let's say at a Panera, and Paneras are crazy. You come in, there's people going in and out, there's groups there, there's usually, it's kind of dirty, it's not, it's loud, there's people walking around. I don't know how you can really control the room and the environment in any kind of chaotic situation like that. So I tend to always want to do my buyer's consultations at the office, in my personal office, or at the conference room. Because when people come in, the first thing I want you to do is take control of the room. And what I mean by that is welcome them in. Hey guys, thanks so much for coming here. Thanks. This is our lobby. Come on right this way. You open the door for them. Go ahead in this room. Mr. So-and-so, I'd like you to sit here. Mrs. So-and-so, you sit here. You take control. You don't let them flounder around or decide where they're going to sit. You have your stuff set up. You know where they're going to sit. You have everything ready. You have bottles of water out on the table. You're already showing them, look, I'm a leader. You can trust me. I'm going to guide you in a professional, friendly manner. And you're going to be comfortable the whole way. You're not going to feel like you don't know what's going on. So psychologically, that's the messaging you should be sending within 60 seconds or less of meeting a new client.
That's awesome.
And again, I'm not saying I've never met someone at a restaurant, but it's terrible. I don't have as much control. I don't feel like I gain as much rapport. I've been at a Panera before where an entire coffee spilled all over my papers. I mean, it's a mess. So try to take control right away. And the location that you choose to meet someone does matter.
Love
Any
it.
questions
Love
on that?
it. Great
Any
stuff.
comments?
That's awesome.
Okay. Perfect. Gifting. So one of my old associates actually sent me this entire audiobook on gifting and the power of gifting and psychology behind gifting. So the takeaway
What's it called, Elizabeth?
If somebody, pardon?
What's it called again?
The book.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh.
I didn't read it. I started listening to it on audio and it was so boring. I couldn't even. So I got the takeaway though. The takeaway is if someone does something nice for you or they give you a gift. So they were citing this guy stood at the airport and gave out roses to people and someone else didn't. And they were trying to sell this product. Anyway, the point is I always now show up with a gift when I'm meeting a new buyer or a new seller. Right off the bat, as if I'm going to a listing appointment, the door opens, I'm saying, oh, hello, are you so-and-so? And yes. And I'll say, well, I'm Elizabeth. Thanks so much for having me today. I brought you a little hat for having me out. Thanks so much for having me. Instant, right? Don't even give them a chance to say hello, and I'm gifting them.
Chocolate business cards.
Pardon?
Jojo put in the chat, don't show up empty-handed. We bring chocolate business cards. Chocolate distracted me. Sorry.
I love that. Yeah. And it can be anything. It can be a little thing. I used to bring Girl Scout cookies when my kids were selling them and we had I would buy 100 boxes and then I would use them as gifts. But this is just, again, a little something you can do, a little touch just to psychology wise show them, look, I'm already giving to you. I don't even know you. I don't know if you're going to hire me. I'm already giving things to you. So it's just one of those things that makes them feel like, oh, I want to now give back. What can I do for her? So it ties you in with folks. And then for buyers, I actually give them their professional shoe covers. I get them on Amazon. I should have had a pair to hold up for you guys, but they can take them from showing to showing and use them as we go along looking at houses instead of having to put the ripped, shredded, trashy ones on that are, look like garbage when you walk in the
Right.
houses. So those are the two gifts I use for buyers and sellers.
Good.
And it definitely pays off.
Awesome. Good ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. Gifting. So let's move on. Okay. Always say yes if something is offered. What I mean by this is sometimes you'll be at a listing appointment and people will say, can I get you anything? Do you want coffee? Would you like water? I think you need to say yes. Even if you really don't want water or coffee, you're now taking the position of you want to always be in the positive. You're going to say yes. Okay. They're like, oh, well, what can I get you? Now you're building a little friendly conversation. Oh, well, how do you like your coffee? Oh, I like it this way. Oh, would you go here for your coffee? It can just give you a little something to start to build common ground on. Also, saying yes gives them the opportunity to serve you. Again, you want to come off as like, I'm the leader, I'm in charge. You're now waiting on me, right? You need to it's just a little psychology that's happening on the back end of things. Also, they might find it rude if you say no. I think, sometimes I've been out to listing appointments and people have not rare. I mean, this is very rare, but sometimes I've had people like, they had a cheese spread out with salami and crackers and like 3 bottles of wine. And I was like, okay, so we're going to eat today. It's like, I don't really like salami, but I'm going to eat that. And so I tried to really make an effort to show them that I'm willing to go the extra mile, right? I'm willing to to fit in. It's just a little shift in psychology. Try to say yes, try to be open-minded.
Maybe not 3 bottles of wine during the listing presentation though. This
was one particular family. And
you say tomato, I say tomato.
Like
I'm in with your girlfriend on those 3 bottles of wine.
Them.
Yeah. Well, it also helps with, it's an engagement. Like you said, I love the fact that you said it allows them to serve you and then you're engaging in that in a positive way. I love that.
And it's also fun, sometimes they want to, like my one client, he was so prideful on how he made coffee. And I have to tell you, I thought it was terrible. I drank that coffee. I drank the whole thing.
Of course you did.
And he was just going on and on about how he buys the best machines and he knows this and he knows that. So if I had said no, I probably would have offended him.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they would have worked with me. Maybe they wouldn't have. But take the path of least resistance. Build the trust.
Yes.
And to my next point, one of the things I learned in one of my past sales jobs is eye contact builds trust quicker than anything else you can do. So it's really important that if you are sitting with 2 buyers or 2 sellers or 3 or however many, you need to make a really conscious effort that you're looking at every single one in the eye and not one more than the other. So you've probably had this experience yourself. Maybe you and your wife or your husband or your significant other went out to a restaurant and maybe the waitress always talks to one person or 80% more to the one person. That other person definitely feels slighted. I know I feel slighted when that happens. So same thing when you're presenting, when you're the one they're listening to, make sure every person's getting your eyes, right? And even if the kids come in or teenagers come in, I make sure, oh, you guys want to sit and sit with us? Totally welcome. I'm flexible. Maybe you'll learn something. And if they don't, I'm always giving attention. I want every single person to feel important. Just recently, I had a family hire me for a listing and they had gone to a Debbie Dugrel seller presentation.
Uh-oh.
And when I showed up, he had all Debbie Dugrel, all his stuff from their thing on the table. He was taking notes in a Debbie Dugrel notebook and I won the listing. Because at the end of the day, he said, my daughter loved you so much and we feel a connection with you and we feel like you're the right fit for our family.
That's awesome.
So you never know who the decision maker is or who's
going to influence that. Right. Who that influencer is.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. The eye contact's good.
I was looking at all this Debbie Dugrel stuff going, oh man, they've already decided. But they hadn't. So never give up. Always give it your best. My next point is actually probably one of the biggest things I can share with you as well. Shut up. Stop talking so much, especially on listing appointments. I many times have come into listing appointments and well, let me explain it this way. When I was just starting my career, there was a big team in my office at the time that was trying to recruit me. I don't know why. I was literally brand new. I don't know what they wanted with me. But anyway, they showed an interest in me. And I was like, oh, I get to go out and shadow this amazing agent who's very well known in my area. And he wanted me to come with him on a listing appointment. So I went along, I tagged along with him, and I wasn't supposed to say anything. And I'm not saying anything. And I'm just watching and listening. He talked nonstop from the second he knocks on the door till we left. These poor people, I could see they wanted to tell him things. They wanted to say more about this room or that room. And he was in a rush. He did not want to listen. I literally came out of that going, oh my God, if this guy is successful, I am going to kill it, because that was the worst presentation I had ever seen. So I have never forgotten that. So when I'm in a listing presentation, I check myself room by room as we go from the kitchen to the living room to the dining room to the bathroom. I make sure I give them an opportunity to say something, or I'm asking them a question and making them answer me. Because when you're talking, it's too much. It's too much. it's annoying. It's not going to bring you guys closer. The more I figured out, the more I can flip it and get them to tell me more about each room, the less I say, the better. Now I'm taking notes. Oh, okay. Yep. Oh, tell me more about the windows. Oh, what year? Okay. Tell me more. And I'm making them talk. The more they talk, the more they like you.
Yeah.
Seems weird. Psychology. You need to back off. Even though you're there to present and to show your worth, in the beginning, especially at a listing presentation, first step I do is walk the house. I want them doing 90% of the talking. Then when we sit down to talk about market and go over who I am and how I'm going to help them, I have to do more of the talking. But even then, check yourself. Don't go more than 2 to 3 minutes without stopping and giving them an opportunity to talk.
Absolutely. Good
Okay.
point.
Great point.
Anything on that? See how I'm stopping?
Yes.
Nice job.
Giving you an opportunity to talk?
Yes.
All right. So moving on. The other thing I'm just going to say in terms of psychology is, as we all know, some people learn better if they're hearing things. Some people learn better if they're watching something in front of them. Some people like to hold things. Try to have everything with you, right? So I always have things I can hand people to look at. I always have things I'm going to be saying. And then I always have what I call a pencil pitch. So part of my presentation in buyers and sellers is literally just having a pad and paper in front of me and then kind of explaining something to them and writing it down. I'm making them watch. I'm making them see what I'm doing. I'm turning it around. I'm asking them if they have questions. I'm doing it live, almost like a little show. So you've got the show, you've got the verbal, and then you also have the flyers and stuff that you can hand out. I think sometimes if you come off like so polished where everything is printed and perfect and stapled and you're not kind of weaving variety into your presentation, again, it falls a little flat. It seems a little preconceived and not personal. And you really want this to be like a cultivated personal experience for them. Okay.
Definitely.
Moving on, please. I love having someone do my slides. This is amazing. Be likable, right? People do business with people they like. So I think too, sometimes maybe you're nervous or, you're so focused on what you want to say, you forget that just be likable, smile, be open, take their coffee, all the things we've been talking about, compliment them quickly. I learned this, just again, in one of my sales positions, but the quicker you can find something you truly want, and don't make it up, right? Find something you really like about them or their house or their pink color or their dog. Find something to compliment them on. That's
Absolutely.
a very easy way, again, to build trust.
Yes.
Finding common ground also is ridiculously important. Again, psychology-wise, even if it's just, if you're just flailing for something, the weather is something we all have in common. You can always say, oh my gosh, it's so windy out there, or, whatever the case may be, anything to find common ground. That's also going to build trust and ultimately help them want to hopefully work with you.
Definitely.
Getting them to say yes. Okay, so this is a little sales technique. I forget where I heard this, but there was a trainer that swore by this. He said, if you can get people to say yes 5 times in 5 minutes, no matter what you're selling them, they're going to say yes. So it's little things like, I hear it's going to snow tomorrow. Yes, it is. Oh, I see you have 2 kids. Yes, we do. Oh, looks like you've been in this house for over 10 years. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. Yes, 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 yes. Get them saying yes. The more they say yes to you, the more they're going to continue to want to say yes to you.
No, I agree. Good point.
Lisa
Good
DiCarlo,
point.
yes, agree. Love it.
Okay. Get them on that yes train. Get them on that yes train.
Listen, I think we covered this a little bit before, but again, the more you can get them talking, do it. Sometimes I get on a tangent, especially at a listing appointment, and I'm going through my thing, and I literally realize I've been talking too much. I'll start to see them glaze over or there's like a change, and I will just stop. And I'll say, Any questions? Right? Just stop yourself. Silence is your friend. You want to literally use silence, not as something that's uncomfortable, but be the one that waits for them to talk. So I could go into more of that, but I think I'm way over my time. So I'm going to keep going. Confidence is definitely, I think, probably also one of the number one things. No matter what you say, if you say it with confidence, they, again, psychology wise, they want to be led by someone that feels confident in what they're doing. Even if you've been doing this one day, if you come off confident, they're never going to second guess that or ask you about that. So confidence is very important. And I think confidence comes with practice. So if you are new, take some scripts, figure out what you're going to say and practice it, role play it. When I was in college, I actually sold Cutco knives, and that was my first sales job. And I actually had fantastic sales training with that company. And I remember sitting in my bedroom with my knife scripts, and I sat there for like 3 hours and I read them and reread them and reread them and reread them. And I went out and practiced with my parents. And I did it again and I practiced again. And then that first week of sales, I was like their top person. And I won their, it was like a limo trip or something.
There you go.
Nice.
Annie musical. It was very exciting. So confidence comes with practice. Tie downs is the next thing we're going to touch on. Tie downs are little questions. So after you say something or you explain something, you'll say, does that make sense? Does that make sense? That kind of thing. Just a little question with a question mark. And then silence. Give them a chance to talk. Give them a chance to gather their thoughts and respond. Don't be so quick to jump in. Let silence be your friend.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
And anything else. I love this. So I noticed that sometimes when I was fielding a phone call with someone for the first time, whether it be a buyer or a seller, sometimes like you're a little nervous. You don't know them. They don't know you. And you feel like you've kind of gotten everything you needed. I now always say this before I'm hanging up. Before I would just be like, okay, thank you, goodbye. Now I say, you know what? Is there anything else? Silence. Pause. Wait. Listen. Don't be in a rush to hang up or cut them off. Because again, psychology, you want them to feel like they're not rushed. They're not just a number. They're not just a transaction. You're hearing them. You're there for them. You're there to be their advocate. So I love that phrase. Anything else?
Good one. Good one. Good tip.
Yep. And don't be a rush to hang up or leave the conversation. I always want people to feel like they are my only client. Like I have nothing else I'm going off to do. I want my kids to feel that way when I'm with them. Whoever you're with at the time, give them your full attention. Let them feel like they are your worlds, because that, again, it builds trust. It builds confidence. If you're on the phone leaving a message, leave your voicemail message slowly and leave your number slowly. Even though we have ID and everything like that, I think it just shows professionalism, and it gives you, again, a chance just to build trust. Especially when you're leaving voicemails, please smile. You can hear a smile through the phone. I think, again, sometimes we're rushed and we're going to this appointment and we have 3 texts that came in and 2 clients waiting to call back. You're kind of trying to get through your day. Slow it down. Take those extra couple seconds. Smile. Leave a nice on-point voicemail. If you get someone's voicemail, don't rush through it and just leave it at that. So I think those are, yeah.
Love that.
Awesome, Elizabeth. Thank you so much.
So many amazing, great tips, Elizabeth.
Absolutely.
I could watch a masterclass on that. So awesome stuff. And I'm
Donny,
sure
I can't hear you.
When you say people getting one takeaway,
I think there were a lot of nuggets there,
if you
Elizabeth.
didn't get 5 or 10 or 15 takeaways, then you weren't listening that well. So fantastic, Elizabeth. I really appreciate it. It's why you're getting all the kudos now in the chat. I think this is why. What?
Donny is muted. They can't hear. Hold, please.
Can you guys hear me now? Anybody?
Okay. Yes. Hi.
Yes, you're back.
Okay,
yes.
I'm back. All right. So I was going to say, if you didn't get one takeaway from Elizabeth, then you weren't really paying attention.
Lots of nuggets.
15, 20 great takeaways or more, just awesome stuff. So Thank you. We can see why you're a rock star, Elizabeth, and a shining star here at
Getting
Samson.
all the kudos there.
So thank you so much for your time this morning,
you. Thank you
Elizabeth.
for having me.
And all your support of Samson and Cardinal Title Group. Awesome stuff. And as a side note, my college daughter is also working for Cutco now. So maybe when she grows up, she can be as good as Elizabeth Kline someday. We'll see.
That's fantastic.
So Ava's got a lot to reach for in Elizabeth Kline. So thank you for joining us, Elizabeth. Take care. All right, we're gonna welcome in our friends from Cardinal Title Group. We've got quickly as they're walking on here. Our averages, if I'm being honest, they were a touchdown this month.
Hi.
So we would love to see these go up. Our West Virginia average 44%. This is of buy size. Maryland DC 32, an average of 40. A little bit down last January. So hopefully those things are ticking up. I've seen some better contracts the last couple of weeks. But, hopefully we can continue to support Cardinal Title Group. This shows you in the market data here within our regions what it looks like. So you can see kind of a granular scale. It looks like Northern Virginia is doing fantastic. We need to kick up Baltimore and Central Virginia and DC, Maryland Metro a little bit. But, the more, if you haven't given Cardinal a chance, please just give them that opportunity to earn your business, and they'll do a fantastic job with it. And if you have been using them, thank you. Please continue to get as many deals as possible to Cardinal. And now we will welcome in our guests that have slid in behind me here, Miss Carrie Lindsey. How you doing, Carrie?
Great. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you today. And you brought with you a friend.
I did. I brought our new attorney.
How's it going, Drew?
Hey,
first
good
time
to
we
meet
formally
you.
met.
Yes,
I've heard a lot about you, but first time I've actually met Drew.
A lot of good things. Drew is brand new to us. This is his second week. He is our managing attorney for DC.
Yes, I love
excellent.
it. All you
Excellent.
DCers.
He's off to a great start. He's sitting in our NOMA office. He comes to us with loads of experience, and he's just off to a fantastic start at Cardinal. We are thrilled to have him.
I've heard a lot of good things, Drew. You have a lot to live up to.
Big shoes to fill.
I've heard it not only from Carrie, but actually from some DC realtors and some people I've encountered. Like, oh, you got Drew. He's fantastic. I love Drew. So
All right.
you got to step it up, Drew. What do you think?
No pressure, Drew.
Excuse me.
No
Yeah,
pressure.
no
pressure's on. Pressure's on for sure.
We've already made him lose his voice here.
Yeah.
He said Cardinals.
Answering, fielding phone calls from agents, and that's what I like to do. So
Awesome. So, Drew, DC expert, you're going to sit in our NOMA office?
yeah. So just a little bit of background. I came from Maryland Realtors first, and then I was at a different title group in Maryland. So
Okay.
while I was at that title group, I was able to work in Maryland and DC.
Great. So you have Maryland knowledge too.
I have Maryland knowledge too. So coming from Maryland Realtors really kind of gave me a great foundation of realtor issues,
Good.
fair housing, ethics, advertising, all kinds of questions I'm happy to answer
Fantastic.
for agents with that. And then also while I was at my former title company, I worked in DC as well. So
Awesome.
I'm title producer licensed in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. I have my law license in Maryland and DC.
Love that
Fantastic.
crossover.
Rock
Love
star.
that, yes.
He is.
So
His resume is way better than yours.
I love it. I
I'm
love it.
just jokes.
so I'm in the NOMA office. I live in DC, and so I'm happy to be that resource.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have Drew as part of our
Yeah.
family. Awesome
More
stuff.
welcome. He's been terrific so far.
Awesome. And then you've got some other announcements here. We can pop up my slide. You've got some
We do.
winners.
We get our January winners. Lorena, who works downstairs, is our processor of the month for January. Nadia, our post closer of the month. Nadia is also downstairs. Serena, one of our pre-processors, also working on the 4th floor, tied for above and beyond with Scott Lee.
I love that.
There you
we
go.
had a tie.
We
our
have
first
a tie.
Above and
We
beyond.
have a
There you go.
tie.
Yeah, and we vote company-wide for that. So we've never had a tie before.
I was going to say that might be your first.
It is. It's our first tie. And I just want to give a special shout out to Scott Lee. He did closings at the hospital. He is really above and beyond.
That's
very
fantastic.
deserving of the tie for this award.
Hopefully he wasn't in the hospital.
So this is the funny story. I look at Carrie and I was like, how's Scott doing? Because we're in our meeting, we're checking. He's like, good. He's had a rough week. He's been in the hospital 3 different times. And I was like, oh my. And she's like, oh, for closings. And I was like, you should say that differently.
You're right.
Don't bury the lead.
I feel like Scott's been in the hospital.
Yes.
For closings.
For closings. He is just above and beyond, going wherever is needed. So thank you, Scott Lee. You're awesome.
Awesome. Great
That's
job.
fantastic. Congratulations, Cardinal peeps.
And then we have another announcement that we want to make as well today, right?
We do. Cardinal is now using Bank United. So we have a new relationship with Bank United we're super excited about. They are a partner with Qualia, so it's more integrated than what we've been doing in the past.
Yes.
We are moving. So we've been using Sandy Spring as our bank, but starting with files open this past Monday, February 17th, Bank United is now our bank.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I know that we've been really excited about this, and the Cardinal staff just saw like this. It was going to be so much more seamless, be able to process things better organization. Because of that Qualia partner, it's going to be a huge advantage for us.
It's fantastic. And one of the new features is you can submit.
We lost sound. Are we back yet? Can I get a thumbs up if we have sound from somebody? You're back. All right, we're
Awesome.
back. All right.
Okay, great. We're thrilled about the relationship. And one new feature is you can submit the EMD directly through Qualia now through a task to the bank. So for example, if somebody doesn't have a check, this is an easy way for them to do it. So we can send a task through Qualia. So we have a lot of new features, which we'll be unveiling, but we're super excited about our new relationship. And I know we're all, concerned about wire fraud.
Let's start over real quick about Bank United, because I think we missed it. So we have a new partner in Bank United. We're very excited about them because of the integration with Qualia, and just very much more in line with supporting title companies in a more efficient way. So
Yes, yes. So starting on files open on February 17th, we're using Bank United. So if you have a file open before February 17th, you're still working with Sandy Spring, the money your buyer will send will still go to Sandy Spring. After February 17th, that's when we're we're working with Bank United.
So I will send out a company-wide email to keep you guys on track. Keep in mind, whereas there is that new feature within Qualia that the client can send the EMD directly to Cardinal through that tab, we still recommend that all of our EMDs are held by Samson. Our wiring instructions are all staying the same for right now. They will change in the coming weeks as well, and I will get that information out to you. But just keep in mind that if you are wiring money, whether it be an EMD or the money needed to close, the funds for closing, everything is going to Bank United on those contracts, Charlene, that were opened Monday of this week, February 17th. Anything that was prior to Monday is still going to Sandy Spring for now.
And to answer the question, when it comes to Samson's EMDs, we are still Sandy Spring for the short term.
Yes.
But that will be moving to Bank United as well. Yes, you can still use Zachem for everything.
Yes, Zachem still works fine.
Zachem still works. It's going to go to the correct bank accounts. That's a highly advisable way to use to get your EMDs in as well.
I will send out an email company-wide to give you explicit instructions. Don't worry.
Awesome. Any more thoughts on that?
No, we're very excited. I think it's going to be seamless for you and for us using Bank United. We're thrilled about it.
Yeah, sometimes you got to take one step back and get yourself organized, but I think going forward, it's going to be a much, much better system for everybody. So we're excited.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Drew.
Thank you, Drew.
It's great having you in. Good seeing you, buddy.
Right. Thank you, guys.
Take care. Thank you to everybody at Cardinal. Just a reminder, Cardinal does a great job putting out these weekly contract trends. We do send those out typically on Thursdays or Friday. I go over those in the weekend update as well, but they're great shareable. They're great sending. It's great for you to kind of stay on touch of how are the contracts going? How's the competition going out there? Are we getting above list price? It's real-time data with the contracts that they accept on a weekly basis, which is normally around 150 contracts a week. So great stuff that Cardinal Title Group provides for us. Is Jerry Berry out there, Bethany? Is Bethany out there? Here comes my man Jerry Berry from First Heritage Mortgage. Unmute yourself, young man. There you go.
Hey guys.
Hello. Good morning.
How you doing, Mr. Berry?
Good. Elizabeth, I love what you had to say there. I always tell my guys, you don't learn anything talking. Good job.
That's a good one.
Job.
You don't learn anything talking. I
say that to Donny all the time.
Talking.
Who says more words, me or Sarah? Let's take a poll on that. All right, Jerry, good to see you, buddy. How's the mortgage world?
Go south? Donnie, why do hamburgers go south for the winter?
That's a good one too. How's the mortgage world doing there, Mr. Berry?
so they don't freeze their buns. That was a dad joke there, Donnie.
Oh, I didn't hear
Come
the
on.
joke. I'm
Freeze
sorry.
their buns.
I didn't hear the joke. That's funny.
Caller's
That's a good
all
one,
messed
Carrie.
up. My dad jokes are failing.
Your dad jokes are failing.
Mortgage world's good. It changes every day, just like the real estate world, obviously. When you look at last couple of weeks, I can show my screen if you want me to, Don. You look at the last couple of weeks, pretty stable since about the middle of January. We had a couple of blips in the wrong direction, but all in all, first-time home buyers still in those mid-sixes. Us repeat buyers that are above the home possible home ready limits, you're sneaking up a little bit, but we're under 7 for a change. So
any of this volatility,
no real changes on that end.
any of the
Go ahead,
Doge
Don.
stuff, people back to work, any of the is any of that had any effect on the interest rates, good, bad, or indifferent, or do you see? I mean, obviously, Trump taking over a lot in January, and obviously a lot of things moving around,
moving and
a lot
shaking.
of political
Yeah.
moving and shaking. Do you see that changing your forecast, or has it done anything to
Or
interest rates?
impacting the volatility.
It seems like it's kept it pretty neutral in the interest rate world.
Pretty
They're kind of
stable.
waiting it out.
Yeah, pretty stable. Initially before the election, they thought that was all going to be inflationary, but that's kind of working its way out. We did see some inflation numbers that were a little bit higher in January, but that kind of happens at the first part of the year. So it was kind of overlooked. Employment softened up a little bit, some other things. I think if employment does continue to soften up, you have room for some more improvement. I think by the end of the year, we'll be back down to low 6s.
Okay.
That's exciting.
That's good, but fairly consistent in the rates. You don't see anything going up.
Right.
If anything, we're going to be about what we are for the short term.
duration. Yeah.
It's going to take some real bad economic news to move that needle down much. I think it's going to work its way back down. Keep in mind, before the Fed started making the moves, we were in the high 5s on Govy stuff and low 6s on Fannie Freddie. And then the Fed started making the moves and rates went up and everybody got worried about inflation. So the market interest rates could move down quite a bit without the Fed doing anything at all. So I'm fairly optimistic about our rates. They're not going to run away from us, that's for sure. Big news this week, and I lost Donnie and Sarah. Not that that's important. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. The big news this week is the Federal Home Loan Bank money coming out the 24th. That's great news for first-time home buyers. It comes back every year. Let me show this real quick. Oh, wrong one, Donnie.
You should be able to share your screen, right?
Yeah, I should be able to. You have to be smarter than a computer. That's always an issue.
That's a challenge for you, my man. That's a challenge.
I hear you. I'm real good with cows.
There he is.
We gotcha.
You shared your screen. We just don't know what you're going to share. There you go.
Nice tabs.
Where's it at? It's coming up. So, included in the Federal Home Loan Bank, there's basically two things, right? There's the workforce grant that we get every year. This is for your police officers, your nurses, the people, the community people. So the workforce grant is up to $15,000. This goes into play also on the 24th of February. Hold on. And then also, come on, Jerry. Coming. And this is a federal home loan grant this year. Most banks, not all mortgage companies, some mortgage companies have it. We're fortunate to have it because of the relationship we have with one of the local banks. But first-time home buyers, $17,500 this year, guys. That's a big number. Community partners, again, the veterans, the active duty military, those type of community partners, all the way up to $20,000. And this becomes active. They can start reserving it February 24th. So this is kind of the big news for the industry right now. Again, it happens every year about this time, Donnie.
Yeah.
And
well, those are good. You got to get those grant monies out there and those opportunities for people is great to have those reloaded and ready for people. And I would say this would be my overall advice, is, and maybe I'm shortchanging as a realtor. I think it's hard to know all the different options out there for people, but I think what you have to do is you have to have that great trusted loan officer that you go to, and introduce the buyer to them. Have a working knowledge that there are grants, there are things available to people, there are different things, but you can't know all the details and know everything. But if you got to
trust your partner,
bring them to your partner, and then guys like Jerry and all the great crew over there can help lead them to the best resources that they have to help them, get into a home sooner and easier.
Absolutely agree with you 100%. You actually saw that in the chat earlier. One of your agents put that exact thing in there. Make sure you got a good relationship with your lender. One more thing, I'll leave you alone. Prince William County's got some money right now too, guys. Got some big spark money. So if you got a first-time home buyer, low to moderate income in Prince William County, make sure you reach out to that.
I love that. Good tips. We
love free money.
For those that don't know, we are pretty good in Prince William County. Got about 18% market share. So we got some buyers out there. You got those no money down or low money down buyers. Get them into First Terrace. So get some. They got some spark money for them. So
awesome.
A pleasure as always, Mr. Barry. Thank you for stopping by, dropping some nuggets. And we will talk to you soon. I have one more question for everybody that I want to kind of get a heartbeat on. I'm going back to my market discussions here. So raise your hands. I want some text in here, but also raise your hand. I want some input. So who was it earlier that touched on this? Not Laura, Tonga. She said she had some sellers that reached out, said they're going back to work, get my house on the market. I got to move closer to DC. I'm interested in both sides of the coin here. Do you have people that have taken a buyout or moved out of their jobs and are ready to move out of the area because they don't have to be around? Or have you got people moving that want to move closer because they moved out of the area? Or kind of what are you seeing as far as the pulse of, each and every one of the 200 people on the Zoom? We only have a couple conversations a week. But if I pull all of you guys together, then hopefully we can share with what's the heartbeat of where we're going. I know Tonga said she had a couple that were saying, look, sell the house. I got to move closer to DC. What is it? What are your guys' experience out there?
And just to preface, this is stuff that you actually are having conversations on and talking to clients about, not what you think is going to happen or what other people have told you is going to happen. What conversations are you having yourself?
So Cindy, you said you had a seller default. You're first because the contract fell through.
Is that because they didn't want to move, or what?
Yeah,
is that
one of the
Cindy?
Cindy's. If you raise your hand, we'll be able to find you to unmute. I'm curious what happened there, and if it was connected to.
Oh, you had a tenant rejected for the home because he works at the DOE. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Okay, Cindy C. There, I see you now. If we can
unmute you, Cindy.
There you go. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
What happened with that seller default?
So Cindy Fox was representing the seller, and they got that email on the weekend that they had to report back into the office. They had originally planned to relocate and continue working from home down south, and they just had to halt everything. And the buyer pushed back in the beginning, and then there were some really heartfelt written letters that went back and forth between buyer and seller. And ultimately, the buyer did release the contract, but it was really rough. A lot of people were losing sleep, and it was very sad. And I had a listing appointment yesterday where my seller is purchasing a new home, and now she's concerned that she could lose her job. And she's in the middle of signing a listing agreement with me, just asking me, what if I lose my job in the middle of all this? And it's real life, and it's really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, and I do remember actually now, Cindy Fox brought that one up to us in our mastermind, and she had that seller that didn't want to sell anymore. I guess the update is the buyer let him out of it, because we were kind of saying the buyer doesn't have to let him out of it, unfortunately. So, that is very sad when you talk about wanting to start this process, but what if you lose your job during it? Looks like we've got some seller withdrawing plans to sell because they're unsure about their job. a lot of folks asking questions, but the activity is the same. Lisa says a few people putting plans on hold because they're worried about losing their jobs. That's good feedback in there.
Yeah, here's one. A seller withdrew plans for fear of her job with the DOD. There's a lot of that coming back in, guys. I think we got a lot of volatility happening over the next 60, 90 days that we're going to have some fearful things until it levels out. But one thing's for certain, the pendulum as it swings always comes back to center.
Go back to that Noble one real quick. So that was an interesting one, Noble.
Closing next week on a one-bedroom condo.
Scroll up a little. Yeah.
Buyers work for feds and were required to come back to the office. We'll be working during the week, Monday and Tuesday, and going back to Cumberland for a 3-day weekend. So that's an interesting solution.
So there you've got some positivity positive for us. I mean, maybe not for them, but they were going to be in the office Monday through Thursday. So now they bought a 1-bedroom condo in the city where they were going to work the 4 days, but then go back for those weekends. So you got some of that stuff. And I think there's going to be kind of both ways on that. If I had to guess, is that we're going to have some people that move back into the area that have moved further out than they feel comfortable with. And then we've got some people that are going to sell because they want to move out of the area because they don't want to move in or they don't want to take their job anymore. They're taking a buyout.
Here's one client sold a house during COVID who took a job with the government. He's in Martinsburg, West Virginia, and now he's required to go back into DC. So they'll be listing soon. I think we'll start seeing more than that. I think, a key, I love how Sharon says on here, just stay in touch with them.
Yeah.
Because there's so much unknown right now. You just placing the phone call, not from the sales perspective of, hey, you're ready to move, I'm going to sell your house, but from the caring, personal, serving perspective of, hey, I'm checking on you. How is this affecting your job? How is this affecting you and your family? What can I do to help? I'm here for you. I can give you some knowledge. Like, rely on your personal knowledge. Don't look at this as an immediate I'm going to flip a house and back to work means 2. Like, don't look at it from that salesy, slimy personality, but look at it from
maybe in the back of our minds.
Maybe, but I encourage you to be genuine and honest in your concern and serving of them, just to say, how can I help you and your family? I care about you and you mean something to me.
Right. And when the home no longer meets their needs, is what Lynn put in there. But it's true. Charlene, current listing, moving to the beach to retire. I think we're going to see more of that. And frankly, the Arlington meme aside that went around social media, we've been a little bit in this golden handcuffs lock situation where people that want to move up don't have anything to buy. They've got a 3% interest rate and they don't want to buy a house with 6.5% interest rate, so they just kind of stay where they're at. We've had this issue of trying to create inventory where if we get some people that said, you know what, I don't want to go back to work, or I did take a buyout, or I did whatever I wanted to do, now I'm going to move out of the area, it actually may have an adverse effect of helping our market.
It may unlock those cuffs a little bit.
It might unlock the cuffs, like you're saying, people moving out of the area, and people moving to the beach to retire. Creating inventory helps because our biggest problem right now, and so there's a lot of problems in the real estate market, but one is that we don't have anything for the lower first-time buyers to buy because we don't have anything for the 25, 30, 35-year-old first-time buyers to buy because, A, people aren't moving with those townhouses to the singles as much because of the interest rate lock, golden handcuff situation. And even if they do move, they're keeping that house as an investment. But if we're able to get people moving out of those single families, now there's more options for the townhouse people to move into the singles. Now we might have some condos and townhouses and some options. I wish I had the stat correct, but the average age of first-time home buyer last year was like 33 years old, which is like far and away the highest it's ever been. And it's because, it's the bottom of that market chain that we're not opening up enough because up here we're not opening up options for those people to move up. And I think if we do get, thousands of people move out of the area, that inventory will help our market flow a little bit. There's a lot of people sitting at home with their parents still or renting with buddies that are capable of buying homes. There's just not enough for them to buy right now.
And if they can buy, if they do find inventory, there's not a lot of first-time home buyers that can jump into a $750 price point because of the price inflation due to the fact that our inventory's been so low on the supply and demand factor. So keep in mind that, we talk about these issues to help educate you. But as and we look at each individual one. My one seller said they have to go back to work, so I'm listing their house. My one buyer can't afford to buy because the interest rates are 7.5 and la, la, la. We're looking at these one-off scenarios. But if we look at the holistic approach of what's happening to the market right now, one of the things that we are desperate on is transaction movement. We need more transactions in the queue. And these types of scenarios where are heartbreaking to someone that's got to pick up and move, and that the heartbreaking part of being unknown to what's happening in their world and what's going to happen next is very uneasy for a lot of people to sit with. This will, unfortunately, or fortunately, as the case may be, create transactions. And transactions is what our markets need to stabilize, to get back to center, to get back to balance, to let the lower end, that first home buyer that Donny, you just talked about, that, that are still living in the basement or still on the parents' couch or whatever, or renting with for buddies.
Parents' couch, that's rough.
I know it's rough, man. Don't let them get too settled in the basement. Make them stay on the couch, because you don't want them to get too comfortable in the basement. But what happens is it allows them to enter the marketplace. And once they enter the marketplace, now we have a solid cyclical nature of progression of transaction units. So this movement, whereas it is heartbreaking to some, and we want to be empathetic to that and stay focused on that, it is a good thing for transaction count and movement and balancing of our markets.
And frankly, there's one other silver lining for this area. Some people are ready to move on, like Charlotte's people say. And the good part about our market being crazy the last few years, as far as our price points, is most people that own homes,
so much equity,
have a lot of equity, and they can, that $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 or more of equity that they've been able to earn the last 3, 5, 7 years. That spends pretty good in most parts of the country. So there is some silver lining.
Absolutely. And, I said don't get drug into the political conversations, but, there are people, look, I'm just going to tip on it, and then I'm tapping and then running. And what I mean by that is, I've had 3 conversations in the last week with sellers who want to sell because they either want to capitalize on the high home equity they have, or they're retiring and they're deucing, I'm out, or I don't agree with the political direction of the country, so therefore I'm out. Like, we are a very politically driven, militarily driven, government driven area, and there will be people with very, very strong opinions, which will make their decisions buying or selling based on those. So you need to be aware of them. Just don't jump on the roller coaster ride with them. Through those conversations.
I would agree. So I appreciate everybody's feedback. It is good to get a heartbeat of, what we're seeing out there over a couple hundred people on the Zoom, as opposed to just our individual scenarios that we see every week. But, overall, Justin, if you could advance, I got it. I went fast there. I want to get to the last slide. Overall, I would just say that, I love that all of you came to participate today. I think we had great speakers in Tonga and Elizabeth who were able to share so much great knowledge with us. I think that what we want to continue to do at Samson Properties is just give you the real life, relatable expertise and help. Psychology of sale, 5 tips to be able to build your business and build your business around from Tonga.
Giving you the education you need to talk professionally and in a confident manner with your clients.
Absolutely. So great guests, great stuff from Carrie, great stuff from Jerry.
Absolutely.
I think that I think the future's super bright for everybody here. I think that there's going to be transactions. There's going to be a great, healthy spring market that we're already starting to see come out. And we want to be here for you. Make sure you reach out if you need that help. Reach out to your local brokers, your agent experience staff. Reach out to us. We'll get you that help you need. Engage with the classes. We have so many great classes going on with Lynn and all of our great staff.
So many knowledgeable teachers.
Get out to an HQ to you that comes near you. We bring our whole staff out. Sarah and I are there, and we really want to engage with what's going on a weekly basis. Things change so quickly, and so keep on top of those weekend updates. I'll give you the market stats on a week-by-week basis on what's going on, and get out to the HQ to use if you can, because they're a great time to interact. But thank you all so much it makes this hour and a half so much better. When we're all participating, we're getting great feedback from you all. So thank you for everything you do at Samson. Thank you for spreading the good news and your support of First Heritage and Cardinal Title Group.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here without your support of Cardinal Title and you consistently pouring in and giving back. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you all. And we will see you hopefully at the award ceremony tomorrow if you're coming or watching it live on Friday watching it on Friday and seeing all the
We are so excited to celebrate you and all of your accomplishments.
See you all, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you soon.